Hey, greetings. Welcome to another live session with Perp 30, the energy healer. Today we're going to be talking about emotional well-being. We're going to be giving some techniques on living a balanced life, identifying your emotions, regulating them, identifying your triggers and how to regulate them. And I'm gonna have some little funky jazz tunes in the background while we do so. So make sure that you get your tea, your water, your juicy juice, or whatever you're sipping on to get started today. Actually, these tunes ain't really tuning for me. I want to slow it down, get a little sensuality going on. Let's see how that go. All right, so I think this is very important to explore how to self-regulate our emotions, and I really want to showcase how I utilize holistic wellness consulting to enhance emotional well-being. That was my initial reason for choosing this topic to share. I do holistic wellness consulting, and I want to share the techniques that I use with my clients on these mind mapping sessions, and that's what the whole playlist is about, sharing those different techniques that I use. In this one in particular, we're going to cover different aspects such as self-regulation, self-healing, self-adjusting, self-programming, because those are all facets of self that are the foundation of my consulting services, helping us get back to our self, okay, holistically, to a well self, a holistic self, not negating any parts of ourselves, but really learning the intricacies and the different facets of ourselves is my most important thing that I like to share within my sessions. Okay. So if you're here live, take a minute, share your name, share one thing that you do to relax, and what you want to gain from this session today, because I will be sharing some tips, and I do want to be able to support anybody on their personal journey. If you are experiencing some type of emotional distress, or if you need some clarity on something, I will be able to assist you with that. And if this is you tapping in the future, off the live, share that in the comments as well, because I'm here, I read them, and I'm a real person, and I like to offer my services to those who need it. So, yes, again, emotional well-being is crucial for your overall health and a high quality of life. Okay, so I'm over the aspects of quantity over quality. I love quality over quantity. So we only get one life, so we got to live a quality one. And having emotional well-being really affects how we handle stress in our life, how we relate to others in our life, our relationships with other people, and how we make decisions. Okay, so developing this emotional intelligence and these techniques and maturity really helps us navigate life's challenges with resilience. And that's also why I offer them in my consultation services. I will have a link down below for you to book a free 15-minute consultation with me to speak on how those consultation services could assist you personally. And if you already know that I'm the one for you, you can also book a 30-day consultation package where I will help you get a strategy for your life and your whatever creative endeavors, emotional endeavors, whatever it is that you may be needing assistance on. We can work for 30 days to get a strategy and a plan to integrate that by the end of actually July. Today is June 24th, so I'm actually raising my prices on July 1st. So hopefully within the next 6 days, if you catch this within the next 6 days, you can get the price that it is right now. If not, is the value has reached a higher level, so you will be still getting exactly what you need, but it's just going to be at a higher price starting July 1st, 2024. This will be recorded, so whatever's clever. Hopefully you get the intro price, but that'll be ending soon. So emotional well-being, okay. I'm going to be talking about that, but by the end of this session, you should be able to understand and practice the different techniques for self-regulation. You'll learn different methods for self-healing and creating a self-healing environment. So that's very important for emotional well-being. We'll be exploring ways to adjust, okay, to adjust and reprogram your behaviors and your thoughts, because a lot of our emotions and why we be stuck in a cyclical pattern of the same emotions and the same outcomes is because we're not adjusting or reprogramming. So that's why we will be delving into the self-programming aspect of ourselves, the self-programming facet, because we have these 6 facets that I really want everybody that's conscious and creative and spiritual and tapped in and wanted to grow and wanted to transform and dedicated to doing so. I really want us all to know that we have these facets of ourselves so we can use them. Take back your power. Take back your power. Okay. We'll also be identifying different emotions, triggers, patterns in your behaviors, because, like I said, I did have this idea of doing the emotional well-being assessment, sharing that, but I didn't watch Inside Out 2. I watched half of it. I'm gonna be honest. I be falling asleep. But the part I seen, I got inspired to include different identifications of different emotions and the triggers and the patterns, because there were like four key emotions that homegirl was dealing with. But as we grow older and mature, that we see that there are so many subcategories of each of those emotions, and I think that being able to identify them and know that there's this vast amount of feelings and emotions that we can go through will really be helpful in tackling those triggers and those patterns. So we're going to go through that. We're going to also key thing in this is balance. So we're going to be talking about balancing our masculine and feminine energies for emotional intelligence, okay? Because sometimes we kind of get imbalanced in those, and that could be creating this imbalance in our emotions and how we express and how we clearly communicate with one another. So that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about a lot. I feel like we're talking about a lot in this. So buckle up. And let's see here. And let's get to it. Okay. So again, drop your name, your feelings for today. How do you relax? How do you really get through your emotions? Like, what's your emotional state for today, and what do you hope to gain from today's session? um I'm here to share my services, my offering, my energy with the collective, because I do think not only emotional intelligence is important, but I think that knowing how to regulate ourselves in all aspects, understanding how we can have the power to heal ourselves and the power to program ourselves is I'm extremely passionate about it. That's why I offer my services, and that's why I'm here doing these free trainings. So I do want to make sure that I have them here in a general standpoint for somebody that may need it, but I also want to make sure that I'm offering them in a personalized, because we are not the same, baby. None of us are the same. We are all different. We all experiencing different things. We all regulate differently. We all need to know that there is someone that could support us through whatever it is that we may be going through. And if I'm resonating with you, I could be that someone. I can be that special somebody. Yeah. But okay. So let's get into it. So, first off, we got to understand, what is self regulation? Self regulation is the ability to manage your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors in different situations. Okay. It involves controlling your impulses, staying focused, and managing stress. So, outside of just regulating your own bodily functions, like we are self regulating. We don't have to tell our blood to pump, we don't have to tell our nervous system to shoot different things to our brain. We don't have to say or do anything for them to operate. So we are self-regulating beings. But what we can control is our impulses. Once we have these thoughts come in, when we have these situations come to us that we can't control, we can regulate how we manage them, how we approach them, and making sure that we know that we nothing is that part of us is not out of our control. So that we can be more stable, make better decisions, solve problems more accordingly. We have to understand what self regulation is, okay? And there are a few techniques that I utilize to help exercise this facet of self regulation. The first thing that I love to do is mindfulness. And mindfulness really involves just really staying present and fully engaged in the current moment. So, practicing mindfulness can help reduce the stress and improve how you're able to catch if something happens. Like, say somebody's speaking to you, if you're being mindful, you can take that split second instead of automatically reacting to the shock of what they're saying, and you can think about it. You can grasp for different outcomes. You can actually take split seconds to change the dynamic of the whole situation. You can get into your Barney bag of wellness and techniques and patience and understanding and compassion and all of that shit, and pull that out real quick and address the situation in a more peaceful manner. So that's really important. Mindfulness practices. Secondly, is breathing exercises. So this may be like, oh, I breathe. I know I be telling some people, just breathe. Let's do some breath work, and they're like, well, I breathe all the time. Yeah, you do breathe all the time, but it's unconsciously. Like, we are taking on the ability to regulate. We gonna die if we don't breathe, but if you consciously are using that power, that the actual thing that's keeping you alive, your breath, and you're like doing sectioned off, maybe a 4 and 7 type of breath, or in through the nose, in through the mouth, you're regulating it mindfully, is super powerful, and it can help calm the mind and the body and really reduce anxiety and help relax you, because we don't give our breath the honor that it needs. Because first of all, if you are upset, if you experiencing um, some type of fear, or if you're out of breath, you notice that your breath changes. It changes depending on what type of emotion that you're in, depending on what type of environment you're in. If you go to a certain altitude in the airplane or whatever the case may be, your breathing changes. So if you're mindful and if you're regulating your own breath in a way that can help adjust your blood pressure, your heart rate, and all of those things in a healthy way, you're doing magic to your own body. You know what I'm saying? You're able, that's you being self-regulating instead of allowing what somebody else just said sideways to you to get you all out of breath, or your fear of saying something to have your heart beat all fast and now you out of breath, and or asthma or any of these things that affect your breathing on an external level. You're now taking that power back and just like making sure that you are regulating your own systems. Okay. And that's just taking about the power of life. That's you and your God-given abilities. And I think that that's an extremely important technique for self-regulating. Before we even get into the different types of emotions, we got to know how to regulate ourselves. Another technique that I love using for self-regulation is journaling and like reflective writing, because I know when I say journaling, sometimes that I feel like that can be a little intimidating to some people, if you don't have journal prompts, or if you're not guided through the journaling exercises. It may be a little intimidating, but reflective writing is basically just writing about your experiences, writing about your memories, writing about a certain feeling that you occurred, or a situation, or just like reflective writing would be kind of equivalent to like a diary, when you're writing your diary about, what happened through your day, or whatever the case may be, or what happened through the past week or your last year or whatever. So that's kind of more of a reflective writing. That's more of a different term for the same thing as journaling. But writing about your thoughts and your feelings can really provide clarity and insight and help you understand and manage your emotions better. So once you write it down, because we, just like breathing, we don't really honor the power in putting pencil to paper. We don't honor these elements of the air that's executing and utilizing the air element in it's alchemy. It really is. So making sure that we write those things down and get them out of our head. So like having these thoughts in our head and just kind of can be cloudy, but once we write them down and do the exercise of moving our hand in a certain way and then having to put them into words, whatever language that you may speak, into any type of words, it alchemizes the energy and gives you more clarity and insight on whatever that situation may be, because you could then start writing things that you didn't even know. Like your thoughts was only able to go so far. Dang. Your thoughts was only able to go so far, but once you started writing, you started making sense of the situation, being able to put two and two together. You know what I'm saying? Just like doing math. It's a little bit simpler to do math when you write it down and write the problems down than you just trying to do it in your head. So that's really the whole premise of journaling. So those are the three techniques for self-regulation. So now we can explore self-healing, the self-healing facet of ourselves. And this is a concept, okay? And there's a really significant meaning to it. So it's a process of using your inner resources to heal your emotions and your psychological wounds. Okay, in this aspect of self-healing, it's a process of using your inner resources to heal emotionally and psychologically and physiologically. And it really emphasizes your personal responsibility and empowerment, because you don't want to put the responsibility of your healing onto anybody else, just because you may be experiencing emotion of anger or sadness or fear. You want to make sure that you are processing those things internally and using your internal resources on why you're experiencing that, and allowing your feelings to empower you instead of externalizing those things. So while you can get assistance from, expressing yourself to somebody else, or even getting assistance like as such as therapy or any type of outside resources, you want to make sure that you understand that you have these personal techniques and these practices to really recover and grow on your own. So that's the whole reason why we go through healing, is because that's the whole reason why we sometimes have to experience certain emotions so that we can actually access this these certain resources within ourselves that may not have been activated had we not got upset, had we not gotten sad, had we not experienced anxiety or whatever the other emotions that we may come upon, or even joy. Like, if we never actually felt that, we may not have ever tapped into joy or happiness as a medicine for ourselves that we can always grab up on our internal off of our internal shelves and cultivate and utilize. So that's really important to understand the concept of self-healing. So also, I want to share a couple techniques for these self-healing, and that the most one that I utilize personally is visualization exercises, because that involves imagining a really peaceful or healing scenario, or any type of scenario, because in our mind, our imagination is so powerful. It can initiate feelings within us just by thinking about it. If you sit and you think about a peaceful beach, the sun hitting your skin, if you sit and you think about some food that you really love, like, the emotions from that visual does start to creep in. So visualization exercises is a really great technique for helping you reduce stress and really promote that emotional healing that we can do for ourselves. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel, Visualizations with Perp 30 Energy Healers. All of them are 15 minutes or less, and they're beginner friendly to help just kind of exercise that in there. They ignite or spark certain emotions just by me explaining the visuals and these different scenarios, and this technique helps you utilize your mind's eye and evoke, that's the word I'm looking for, evoke certain feelings and emotions and um, sceneries that we could use just from our imagination. So that's another one. um, Meditation is, so the visualization exercises are meditations as well, but you can listen to them without just sitting in kumbaya. And I really do want people to understand meditation is not just sitting in Buddha type of this. You can do it that way, but meditation is really anything that calms your mind, reduces your stress, and improves your emotional well-being. And that could be different for everyone. That can be washing dishes. That can be, like I said, sitting in guided meditation, visualizing certain things. That can be gardening. That can be drawing. That can be a lot of things to get into a meditative state. But you do want to also get into that doing nothing. Get into the habit of relaxing to the point of being being, like, just being, allowing yourself to tap in, do body scans, hear and see and feel only you, and not engaging into too many things. That's another relaxation tip or meditation tip, is to just engage into your own vessel, into your own, and clearing your mind and letting things pass by and not being engaged. So visualizations and meditations are two. And in doing that for the self-healing is just creating a healing environment, making sure that your surroundings are supportive, making sure that the people that you have around you are supportive, that you're engaging in different activities that really bring you joy, and creating a space that promotes that relaxation and healing. Because, like I said, that can be different for anyone. We are not the same. What brings me joy, what relaxes me, what heals me may not be the same for you. And there's many things that could be that. So making sure that you know what those are and you are intentionally creating an environment. It may have to it could be in your car, it could be somewhere going to the park. It not necessarily has to be in your home if that's not, if your home environment is not the most healing or relaxing, then just making sure that you're creating that space, even if it's in your mind, creating that space in your mind and knowing that it's important for you to take 10 minutes to do a visualization, put your headphones in and going into your mind space, right? Maybe when you in the bathroom on the toilet doing your couple little minutes of visualization, but really taking the power of actually healing yourself in whatever dynamic of life that you may be in. You got the rights and the way and the capabilities to do that, because it ain't no I can't do it because I can't. People make time for what they want to. People make time for what they really want. And people do exactly what they need to do for themselves. So make a way. Okay, make a way. So that's why I'm here to just give a different perspective on. It's nothing that's, oh, I have to go to the yoga studio to do this, and that. You can do that shit right up in a chair. People ain't got no arms, no legs, is making a way and doing some very, very impressive things with no arms and no legs. So if you are able, healthy and able, still breathing, got breath, you can heal yourself. You can regulate yourself. And now we're going to talk about embracing self-adjusting yourself. Okay. So the definition of self-adjusting is, it's really just a process. It's a process of making changes to your thoughts, behaviors, and attitudes to improve your emotional well-being and really just help you adapt to new situations. Okay, so that's just what I was talking about. When you know that you have the capability to heal yourself and regulate yourself, you also have the capability to adjust. Okay, change thoughts on what meditating is, change the thoughts on what relaxation is. It ain't just what you seen scrolling on your damn TikTok. It ain't just that. It ain't just what the pastor told you. It ain't just what your mama and them said that it was what was relaxing for them. What is it for you? And making sure that you're able to adjust accordingly when different aspects of your life are causing you stress, when different aspects of your life are causing you emotional discomfort, and you can really consider a new way of looking at it, perspectives, different, taking on new perspectives and doing what you have to do, because there's endless possibilities in this world. So making sure that you're doing what you got to do to identify areas that need adjusting. Okay, that's important, because when we go into the different types of emotions, we have to be able to adjust our mental on just rigid ways of thinking here now. It ain't just anger. It ain't just happy. It ain't just sad. Those are rigid ways of thinking about it. We have to be able to look at these certain feelings and see a little deeper. So know that you really embrace the adjustments, okay? Really embrace and stretch your mind to be able to adapt to new thought processes, new behaviors, new attitudes, so that you're not stuck in this cyclical or repetitive pattern of unhappiness, of stress, of discomfort. Okay, because I know sometimes some clients I'll ask, well, what, we'll sit and be talking, and they're like, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that no more, and I don't want this. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want? And once I start pulling out different suggestions on, okay, you don't want this, well, do you want that? Well, I can't because this, that, and third, and it's like, okay, you're rigid. You're not adjusting your mentality or your attitude, and you're not adjusting your behaviors to change or get out of that state of what you don't want to get into something new. Because just simply saying that you want something versus not saying what you don't want could really shift and adjust your whole life. Just in you and that thought process in its own, that attitude in its own. And I'm only going to speak on what I do want for a day. I'm not going to say what I don't want. I'm not going to talk about what I don't like. Okay. So just those simple things can really help with identifying and getting more emotionally balanced. Okay. So a few techniques. Well, I kind of just went over that, but a few techniques for self-adjusting is this cognitive restructuring, which is what I just said, changing the negative thought patterns into positive ones. So this helps you respond more efficiently to challenges. Okay, just like I was just talking about, just from just a simple switch of cognitive restructuring from I cannot or I do not want to I can or I do want. Those are adjusted thought processes from something negative to something positive. That's extreme, especially when we're dealing with situations and some other people. It's like we can't change someone, but what we can do is stop looking at all of the things that we don't like about a motherfucker. How I don't want this person to treat me. When we're talking to people or when we're experiencing what that the externalizing of what somebody's doing is making me upset. I don't like how they're treating me. I don't like how we're doing. So you have to adjust how you're even responding to that. Okay, what do I want? How do I want to be treated? Am I treating them in that way? Am I making them know how I would like to be treated, or am I just telling them what I don't like? Because you can't tell a motherfucker to do something differently if you ain't giving them no instructions. Okay, so that's very important technique for self-adjusting, because it also reverberates in the relationships that we have. Another technique is positive affirmation. So our affirmations are positive statements that can help reprogram your mind and improve your outlook. And affirming yourself, that's what's in the word affirming, positive affirmation. So instead of saying what I can't do or I don't like, I can live a healthy, prosperous life. Instead of listening to the doctor and say, I have cancer, I am healing. That's affirming and restructuring and positively affirming yourself into something that you want into life, because our words are very powerful. So we have to affirm ourselves, and it's not and I really feel like you gotta live some level of delulu. Okay, there has to be some level of delulu in anything that we're doing. So you can't look at it like that. You got to look at it as that you having faith and loving life. You're having faith that you're affirming something that you do want to experience, reprogramming your mind from being sick to being well. Okay. And that does a lot, oftentimes require someone else to assist you in doing that. So again, that's why I offer my consultation services, is because I know that we can get stuck in these things and not have the perspective that I can just simply change what I'm saying on a day-to-day basis. That simple thing that I'm in, if having a conversation with someone and I hear them saying I can't or I don't want, just a simple shift in helping you adjust your thought pattern from negative to positive could be life changing, you know. So hopefully that this just in me mentioning that on here, if you're listening, who is listening, could assist that. But it does require sometimes personalized assistance, and we may not have, again, those environments or the relationships that affirms that within us. So assistance does sometimes have to be externalized, but make sure that your external assistance is still bringing you back to yourself. Okay, so that's another technique for self-adjusting, is making sure that you're developing adaptive coping strategies. Okay, so adaptive coping strategies is exercise, positive hobbies, or talking to a friend, a trusted friend, or talking to a therapist, and making sure that the therapist ain't just sitting there listening to your ass and you just pulling shit up out your pocket, and they not giving you no type of wellness plan or anything of that nature. You're not working towards nothing, because I find that therapy sometimes is just somebody you just got to be talked to, and sometimes you do just need somebody to talk to just to get it out of your mind. Not to say anything about not needed about therapy, but just making sure that it's just not just left there. That you also are able to adjust. It's making positive adjustments in your life. That is healing you. That it is helping you regulate these feelings that continuously keep going. So now that we went over self-regulation, self-healing, self-adjusting, we want to make sure that we're implementing self-programming. Okay, so the concept of self-programming involves intentionally setting goals and routines to influence your behavior and create positive changes. Like I was just saying, we could talk our ass off about the problems that we got, and then sometimes those trusted friends end up being trauma bonds, because we just talking about how fucked up and stressful life is, and we're not making any goals, we're not having any type of strategies, we're not putting it into any type of routines that help influence more positive change or behaviors in our life. So we want to make sure that we're implementing these self-programming um, techniques as well, such as setting personal goals, creating and following routines. Okay, we can say we want to lose weight, we're going to exercise every day, but making sure that we are actually getting our ass up and doing it. Making sure that that our routines are supporting, because every day you get up and you do something, whether it's something that's supporting your emotional health, such as exercise, meditation, or self-care practices, or is it negatively affecting your health? You're routinely getting up doing something, or routinely sitting your ass down and doing nothing. Either way, you are following a routine. So making sure that you are programming yourself to create and follow healthy routines. Okay. And also utilizing the visualization and mental rehearsal. So visualize yourself really achieving those goals. Like I said, you guys to implement self-healing techniques and making sure that you're handling challenges successfully and reinforcing the positive outcomes instead of rehearsing negativity constantly, such as I was just talking about the therapy, or talking to a trusted friend, or habitually sitting in front of the TV eating instead of getting up and exercising, or following a certain type of diet, or just going and doing some type of habitual spending or eating or gambling, or and taking unhealthy substances, making sure that we're setting healthy, doing healthy routines is very important. Okay, so now that we have some techniques on how we self-regulate, how we self-program, and all of the things of healing and adjusting, we can talk about techniques for identification. Okay, so identifying different emotions and triggers, and identifying patterns in our behaviors. That's a key. That's a big key to emotional well being. So when we're identifying, we can utilize those things such as visualization to help really explore these different emotions, because if we haven't yet identified, or that's the key to the I am. For me, when I say I am, is identifying action manifestation. So we want to make sure that we're identifying what it is that I'm feeling, identify this pattern, identify this trigger, so that just like when you walk into somewhere, you want to identify who you are, who you talking to, who, the who's and the what's. Identification. State your name. Trigger. State your name. Emotion. State your name. Pattern. And you want to be able to capture, get that. You want to be able to name them. So, different ways in which it helps me do that is by writing. Going back to those journaling and those experiences. That's why I created the mindful eating journal, is so that I could get a better log of the things that I'm feeling. In that journal, there is a feeling log, and there is a place for you to journal in it. There's a place for you to know what you ate, what you um, consumed in all ways. What were you reading? What were you um what were you putting on your skin that day? What did you wear? What colors was you wearing? You know what I'm saying? So that you can really understand how what we're consuming on the day to day is affecting us emotionally. Okay. So by logging that, then you can begin to identify and track these emotional triggers, track these experiences, track different patterns that occur once you've gotten you can see, oh, every time I eat chicken, I get really sleepy and tired the day after. After I eat chicken, I be constipated. These are the symptoms. These are the patterns that I'm seeing as I'm documenting. And it takes some time. So be very patient with yourself. It's not something that occurs right off the bat. You really want to make sure that you're being patient with yourself when you're doing this. Because it didn't happen overnight for me. Okay. Analyzing these patterns, because you got to do it a few times. Even you seeing and sitting in these visualizations and going over different times of your life, it helps to look back, okay, a year ago, even going on Facebook and seeing the year from now, like the memories on Facebook. It helps see a cyclical pattern. Okay, this day last year, this day 2 years ago, this day 10 years ago, however long you've had your Facebook or whatever mechanism that you're using to measure your patterns, could really help you understand the origins and the impacts of certain things and different experiences that you've had. So that's very important. And analyzing these behaviors and these patterns, really reflecting on your responses and seeing how, when that happened to me 5 years ago, this is what I did to address that. Now, and this is what happened after I addressed that. We got to really be able to do that. We have to be able to reflect on certain things. Okay. So that's important. Make sure that if you're in the comments, share any type of patterns. Yeah. Share any type of patterns or themes that you've seen common in your everyday. What is coming up for you now? You know what I'm saying? We just had a full moon. A lot of things could be coming up for us as a pattern. What have you able to see as far as a pattern between you and your parents? What's a pattern between you? You know what I'm saying? We get things, behaviors do come from experiences. So some of them may be passed down from your parents. Even the way you tie your shoe could have been, a learned behavior. So, or the way you walk, or the way you eat, or something of that nature. A lot of things are learned behaviors, and then we're not only taking in those patterns, but then we're also affecting others with those patterns. So if there's something that you may have learned from your parents, you may be teaching your children or the people around you that are learning from you those same things. Are they healthy? And if they're not, this is where you can adjust by identifying and analyzing and re-regulating. Okay. So also, now we can get into um, balancing. Okay. Balancing those masculine and feminine energies and the importance of that, because our masculine energy is really associated with action, the logic, our assertiveness, while on the other half of our brain, the feminine energy is linked to our intuition, our empathy, and our nurturing aspects. So, balancing these energies really promotes emotional intelligence because it allows you to respond to situations with both strength and sensitivity. So, a really good way of, once we've identified certain patterns, once we recognize these emotions and observe them in our bodies and observe them in our mental capacity and in our behaviors, and also observe them in others' perspective, making sure that we're seeing, okay, I keep having this experience when I'm dating somebody, or I keep having this experience with my brothers and my sisters, or whatever the case may be. Making sure that we're able to address them, making sure that we're able to, where was I going with that? Making sure that we're able to right, see them from both angles. Okay, see them from both angles and communicate them accordingly, making sure that we're able to talk to ourselves, possibly write these things down before we address it to somebody, share it with somebody that we know would help, like I said, that trusted friend where we know that they're going to give us great feedback. Work it out of our bodies and make sure that we still feel that way, instead of it's not just a certain emotion. Making sure that we're seeing ourselves in the reflection of whatever it is that we're experiencing. How does this really reflect me? Is it just something that somebody's making me feel, or is it something that I actually can like take some accountability and work on and adjust? Okay, that's very important. So some techniques for balancing these energies, again, is really getting into physical movement, making sure that we're meditating, making sure that we're being mindful, and just overall making sure that we're addressing the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the emotional. Because when we get to feeling anger, when we get to feeling um, anxiety or all those things, there are other components to it that we don't always take into account. That was what I got inspired by from the movie Inside Out, and I'm not going to give any spoilers if you haven't watched it, but there were 5 or more different emotions living inside of this little girl. And if one of them showed up and just took over the whole keyboard, then didn't even think about what the other ones were, their inside of the other ones, then that was not a holistic situation that was happening there. And this little girl would be affected by it. Her wellness would be affected. So making sure that we are taking into account all aspects of self when we are looking at our emotional well-being, seeing that sometimes if we're experiencing emotion, if we went through all of these techniques of regulating, healing, adjusting, and we continuously see these certain patterns, there may be an underlying effect to why you keep getting angry. Why is anger the one that you keep coming into? There may be an underlying trigger for that. It may be something that you're eating. It may be something that happened in your childhood. It may be something that may be subconsciously affecting you. You might be fucking getting attacked in your dream space, or whatever the case may be, something that you just need some type of different perspective on to tackle it. But all of it can be tackled. That's what's very important, because your emotional well-being directly impacts your physical health. It also influences factors such as your stress levels, your immune functioning, and your overall vitality. So you want to make sure that you are not just bypassing or going and just listening and somebody just giving you a pill to make you stop feeling, okay? Because that's not always the key. You not want to just take a pill, or you don't want to just eat the shit away, or you don't even want to just physically go and run it off. You want to make sure that you're able to address these things holistically. This is my point of sharing these strategies, okay? Also, yeah, so that's really my whole thing. If there's any questions, put some questions down there, anything that you want to address. I hope this has been very helpful. I feel like it has covered a lot, because like I said, the overall purpose of this is really making sure that we're living holistic lives, balanced lives, that we're incorporating activities and habits that promote balance across all areas of your life. And your emotions are things that help identify what's happening in the other aspects of your life. But we are one, but we are just one of parts. Okay. Each one of us has a unique puzzle piece, and each part of our internal self is a puzzle piece that has to be put in appropriate place as well. Our experiences are all parts of the puzzle pieces, and they affect different aspects of our life as well. So we have to emphasize, and I'm really emphasizing the value of understanding and managing these emotions and triggers and patterns, because of the impact that they have on your overall health. They're very impactful. So again, if you need any personalized assistance with this, make sure you hit the link below. Contact me for a 15-minute free consultation so that we can just talk over it and see how I can assist you any further. If you do already have a specific thing that you want to go ahead and get tackled in before the end of this June 2024, hit the link and get the 30-day. If you hit that after July 1st, then it'll be a different price, but still the same offering. Hit that if you want a knowledge of self report to get a little bit more in depth on your unique human design. That is in the link below as well. And also, the visualization meditations, they're on this on this page. This, if you follow, subscribe, like, there are visualization meditations on the playlist as well to help with your self-healing journey. And that'll be all for me today. Y'all have a good one.